Have you ever felt deeply hurt when you've been rejected? Have you ever had that feeling of rejection and hurt seem to linger for a really long time, invade the way you think, and possibly even recur over the span of years? Well, that's a sign of rejection trauma. I'm Dr. Julie Schaefer. I'm a psychologist and relationship coach, and today we're going to talk about rejection trauma. I want to help you understand a little bit more about what it is and how you can cope with it. Now, rejection is something that all of us have to deal with, but when it happens during childhood, and especially if it's coming from caregivers or other people who are very important to us, it can have a long-lasting and pervasive effect on our lives. You may have heard of the term rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Now, while that's not an official diagnosis, it is an important factor in a lot of mental health issues, and it's very real. Some of those issues are ADHD, anxiety, depression, and others. It's very widespread when it's present in your life. Now, one of the most insidious and persistent effects of this rejection trauma is self-doubt. And self-doubt arises when you're questioning your abilities or capabilities or worth in response to being rejected. And when you question yourself in this manner, when you're asking yourself, am I worth it? When you're asking, did I do something wrong or am I okay? That really erodes your self-confidence and makes it hard to trust yourself. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't about your worth. It's about somebody else's inability to see it. And recognizing this is the first step towards ending the cycle of self-doubt and reclaiming your confidence. Now, when we hurt or when we expect rejection, what we fall into is having a fear of future rejection. And this fear of future rejection will really limit your life. It will cause you to avoid starting a new relationship, for example, after you've been let down by the last one. Or maybe you had a difficult time getting up in front of class when you were a kid and asking a question or doing show and tell, and your peers laughed at you. Well, of course, now you're not ever going to want to do that again, right? But the problem is that A, it's limiting your life, but B, the more you end up avoiding these things that you fear will be painful, the more you reinforce the belief that you aren't capable of handling it. Unfortunately, rejection is a part of life. It's unavoidable, but it doesn't have to define you. My suggestion is to start with small things and work your way up to bigger things. Learn to face this fear of rejection with courage and resilience, and you will open up to new possibilities for connection and success. And a little side note here is that having courage doesn't mean that you aren't afraid. It just means you are afraid, but you try anyway. Now, if you've had trauma from rejection in the past, relationships are going to be especially tricky. You might find yourself either being clingy, very afraid of being abandoned in a relationship, or pushing people away in an effort to avoid getting hurt. But either of these reactions creates relationship insecurity, overcompensation, or emotional distancing, which strains your personal relationship and distances you from people. The key here is to start by building trust with yourself, by learning to value your own needs, feelings, and boundaries. You might find a therapist to be a great asset in this process, as they're kind of a neutral third party, so to speak. And as you gain self-trust, you'll find your relationships become less about avoiding and rejecting or feeling like you're going to get rejected and more about genuine connection. Now, something that can come up if you have a history of rejection trauma is emotional numbness. And this is when you feel disconnected from your emotions. You don't know what you feel, and you may even lose interest in activities that you have enjoyed in the past. When this happens, you're in survival mode. This is a survival mechanism. You've been hurt and you're protecting yourself. But when we shut ourselves off from potential of pain, we also block out the good things. We block out the joy, the love, and the sense of connection with other people. So this emotional numbness, while it engages in an attempt to help you survive situations, sometimes we get stuck there and we really aren't accessing the richness of our lives. Now, if you notice this is happening, the thing you want to do is to get reconnected to your emotions. This doesn't mean that you have to get overwhelmed by them. And I think that's something that people get kind of afraid of, that their emotions will overwhelm them. And emotions don't have a timeline. So when we get into them, we think we're going to be in them forever. But that's not true. So we're not going to get overwhelmed and we're not going to be in this forever. You want to start small. You want to start with manageable emotions, things like annoyance or enjoyment or contentment, even. And from there, you can work your way up to bigger emotions. And this is where just labeling how you feel can be a really good start. Another sign of rejection trauma can be physical symptoms, and they can show up in your body as stress-related conditions like headaches, general fatigue, or even GI issues. Now, while these might not seem related at a first glance, the truth is that emotional pain and physical pain are very closely connected. So if you start to address your relationships and rejection trauma, you might be lessening some of your physical symptoms as well. And again, here's where a therapist can come in very handy. Other valuable practices to do on your own include mindfulness, journaling, reading about these issues, or listening to podcasts or other books or experiences, and doing some intentional self-care activities. Now, rejection trauma is real, it's painful, it's persistent, and can deeply affect our sense of self and our relationships. But it doesn't have to rule your life. By recognizing the signs of self-doubt, the fear of future rejection, having difficulty in relationships, emotional numbness, or physical symptoms, and employing some of these coping and healing methods, you can begin to heal and move forward. It won't happen all at once, but every step you take towards self-awareness and self-compassion will bring you closer to a less painful experience and more connected relationships. Now, if you relate to these experiences or know someone who does, consider seeking support from a mental health professional to work through some of the rejection trauma and to build some coping strategies. But remember, acknowledging and addressing these issues is the first step towards healing and emotional well-being. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button, share it with somebody who might need it, and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. Take care and have an amazing week.